position your tip so that it's hitting the side so it dribbles down. This set of labs is so totally engaging to all levels of students.
People I know, they come into the class thinking, oh, it's just science, you know, it may not be that fun, but then when you're doing the hands-on stuff, it's really fun.
Scoop it in there, and then...
So the Amgen labs basically mimic a product development pathway that would be happening in biotechnology in the real world.
We are in the research and development organization, and our main goal is to produce recombinant proteins that are related to developing therapeutics for cancer, neurological disease, chronic pain, and so on. I think it took me a while to get into science. I really didn't have a clear idea of which subjects I was most interested in. Sometimes it's not always clear, what do scientists do? Do we work in rocket labs and fool around with chemicals? But actually no. One of the core things that we do in my group is express and purify protein. And to do that, all the techniques that we perform today are pretty much the same, whether you're doing them here in industry or in high school.
Our idea here is just to collect a protein and nothing else. So why don't you guys go ahead and add your first buffer?
Okay, so I have to adjust the pipette to 150, so I'm gonna just spin it. Which buffer is this?
The binding buffer.
Okay.
All the equipment and the processes are done the same way in graduate labs and college labs. The equipment's made the same way, it runs the same way, it works the same way that we work on it in labs here.
We're interested in the way that proteins are produced inside cells, particularly when they get messed up and can cause problems for cells. And what we're interested in finding out is why is it that they get into these wrong conformations? And is there anything we can do to stop that ultimately?
First we gotta put it in.
Once it like dumps out into
Then we stop.
And then we stop.
Before we add it in.
Yeah, this is all one step.
Okay, then.
It's actually easy.
In this lab, we're learning about how to extract genetically engineered proteins, and this is useful because we can have other organisms grow human insulin, which is useful for us for people with diabetes.
So all of this, and then you run it down the side of the column.
So we start with a plasmid. We insert a gene for red fluorescent protein, and that gets inserted into the plasmid, and then the plasmid carries that gene into bacteria. And there, the gene can be expressed.
Oh, I just came out.
Something in
Yeah, it's dripping.
Hey, when you guys get your columns ready, can you wait, please? And at the end of the whole sequence of labs, we have our protein product.
Oh, look at that.
I love doing science because there's no topping the thrill of excitement when you see a new result.
I want to see it too.
It's an exceptional moment.
Yay, it's orange! That's cool.
When they start the curriculum, they're starting with DNA that they can't see, and they wind up with an entirely different molecule. Who wouldn't get excited about that?
This is amazing.
It's amazing.
So it really ties all of the other bits that they've learned together and shows them a process, which solidifies their understanding.
Yeah, ours is more pure.
It gives these students a great foundation for considering a career in science in a more informed way.
Becoming a scientist is a hard sell because people in science have to take all of the hard classes. But I think the rewards at the end of that are helping people, either through developing new medicines, new therapies. Those kinds of rewards, I think, are invaluable.
I used to be really interested in acting, but this just kind of shifted my focus. What if I could get really good at this and do it for a living? That'd be really interesting.
I don't think I'm gonna go into it, but I feel like I've gained a lot of understanding and it's really interesting.
I think it's a possible field for me. This sort of strengthened that kind of interest in this.
Oh, there you go.
I would like to do research for diseases or just basic work within a lab because I enjoy working with this equipment and doing this kind of research.